All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz here, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We have another Wednesday marketing webinar for you. And today, this will be the final part in this series here, because we've had a lot of requests, and we were asked if we could do this once more again. And again, we'll try to revisit this possibly down the line every so often throughout the year as well. But similar to the last 2 weeks, we'll basically take a lot of the businesses and stuff that you guys sent in, and we'll basically tell you how we would market them or what we would change on them. And they'll definitely be the SEO side, although we might, again, briefly touch on some of that as well. And as always, these calls are every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is right now, where we'll host a live training and/or Q&A call for our members. If you're here or registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day of any of the calls on the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So click on the training, then you click on the Wednesday calls, and you'll see the most recent ones at the very top. And you can also search through those as well with the search bar, or the search tool, I should say. And if you want a chance to win $100 later on in this call, make sure to join our free Facebook group, which is, you can get to it if you go to getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not already a free member of that, just click on that or go to that link right there. Click on the join, and Sharon will probably approve you within a few minutes or so if you do so right now. And then towards the end of this call, we'll give you some instructions on what to do, where we'll actually do a drawing live where we'll give away $100 at the end of the call. Now we can move on to our training for this week, where again, we'll basically talk more about how to better market your businesses that you sent in for us to review. So we'll start with that, and then we'll show a handful of the tools throughout that time, like inside of Webfire and such, that we might use to help with that, so to help with basically marketing and all that. And then we'll end it with the Q&A and the cash giveaway. So with that, I'm just going to pause my screen as I go on over to my browser. And again, we had a lot of sites sent in, so we obviously couldn't get through all those sites because we've had tons and tons and tons and tons of them. But I tried to pick like a wide variety where there's several that were comparable, where how you'd market one would pretty much be the exact same for most of them. So obviously, if yours was not picked here, you still should get a lot of value out of that. So the first one that I have here is this site right here, or this business, and they basically sell a policy type thing. So for those of you that don't know, that's a pretty big thing that affects, well, especially affects places over in Europe, but even affects people worldwide, because if you have any European visitors to your site, you're meant to comply with that. It's something that is a new law that they have that goes into effect, I think, sometime in May or so, where it's basically more hurdles and stuff on what you can and can't share, and what you can and can't do with leads, and how you basically have to get them to not just opt in to your list, but you have to get them to basically check off and acknowledge, even if you send them a promo or you try to sell them anything, you can't just have them join a list. You have to have them be basically aware of what stuff you might sell them and stuff like that. So that's the short version of that. The longer version would go into a lot more detail on that. But basically, this guy right here appears to be selling some kind of service or something. But first of all, what I don't like about right here is it's not crystal clear what you're selling. You say, what is the GDPR and how does it affect my website? Only 150 pounds plus VAT. So why would I pay 150 pounds plus VAT for a question? You're not stating what the offer is, you're stating a question. Now, a question's fine if you answer it and have an offer in that, but I find this like really confusing because it'd be kind of like me saying, you know, who wants more traffic? Only $150. Okay, it doesn't, or no, it'd be more like if I said, what is SEO, and why that matters? Only, you know, $150 plus tax. It doesn't really make sense. Like, people's brains are like, wait, what exactly are you selling? So right now, everyone's mind is, okay, what is GDPR and how does it affect my business? So you want to kind of either stick to that or change the headline around, like, you know, how does the GP or how does the GDPR, you know, affect your website or your business, and how you can take care of all those hassles for only, you know, X amount of money. But then make sure to basically answer that right there. And then I would almost, you know, you have the video here. I'd almost have that be like almost like a little drop down or something right there. Is just a little more obvious. And then right here, this looks like more like a traditional kind of sales page right here. But again, it's not really clear, you know, what it is. Like, you know, you could say right here, you know, here's what our GDPR privacy policy, you know, then includes. And really, people ultimately want to know that they're completely covered. So rather than just say, I mean, it's great to say all this stuff right here, but the question at the end of the day, you know, I'm not like, oh, he covers, you know, the 13 things that I'm looking for, because I don't know much about the GDPR. So I want to really know, do you cover everything I need? Yes or no? Simple answer, yes or no. And, you know, versus like, you know, if you're saying, hey, I include the guidance notes, I include, you know, this other stuff, I include, you know, the full documentation. Again, I don't know what that all is, and most businesses out there won't know what that all is. They just want to know, does your solution fix their problem? So especially in like the video that you have, you want to lay out what the GDPR is and how it can greatly affect them, and then what your solution is and how easy it is to implement the solution that you have. So if you give them an easy solution and you scare them into thinking, hey, you know, I really need to take care of all this, you know, it's much easier to make that sale there. There we go. All right. So yeah, so not a bad, you know, not bad as a whole, but I definitely would fix up that to start with. Definitely make, especially the message up here, a lot more clear. Now, if you want to have like separate articles or videos and stuff on your site where, you know, you're trying to target basically just questions like that, I think that's awesome. It's a great opportunity to have like lots of videos out there, lots of content out there, like blog posts and stuff, where, you know, you say, you know, what is the GDPR? You know, do I need to have the GDPR even if I'm a US site? Just a bunch of questions like that, that basically you target those in the title, you answer the questions thoroughly themselves. And then at the very end, you kind of nudge them saying, hey, if you want a complete solution to all this right here, you can basically do so by grabbing a package like this right here, and then link, you know, to your main offer, which would be more like a standard type sales page and stuff. Now, as far as other things that you could do to market it, outside of that and fixing up the site a bit, you could also look for basically people asking basically questions online about the GDPR, or people talking about it. Now, inside of Webfire, I have a saved search up here that I did. Here it is. I went to leads, and then I went to, I mean, lots of lead tools would work here. In this case, I just went to the RealTime lead finder, right here. And then I typed in GDPR, and you see all these leads right here of basically people talking about the GDPR, asking questions on it. And a lot of these, again, people that don't know, or they're trying to find solutions, and stuff like that, and you can jump in on these talks right there, and just give useful advice back. Like you can click on any of these right here and say, hey, a lot of sites don't know that even if you're like a US site or blah blah, that you still have to be compliant with this, and here's a few things that you have to make sure on. And if you want more information, I have a video or a blog article or whatever on it right here, where you're not really spamming around like a buy now link, but you're basically saying, make sure you want to check out this. You could probably even get away with saying, hey, there's a handful of kind of like done for you solutions and stuff, like this right here. But this would be a decent amount of leads that you can get just off of that. You could also go to like the rank lead finder, the Q&A leads tool and stuff like that, and find even more leads and start to like siphon traffic off of page 1 of Google, Yahoo, and Bing with the rank lead finder right there. You could also even do a bit of guest blogging as well. You could find all sorts of other blogs out there that maybe are talking about that, or blogs that specialize in stuff for like other bloggers or webmasters or businesses, and you could do like a guest blog post on what is the GDPR and how does it affect you. It's the kind of topic that a lot of sites would be interested in running. It'd be helpful, and it'd be an easy way to kind of drive basically traffic from there to your own sites and stuff. So that would be a good start right there. The other thing that you could do too, if you want to be like really ambitious, is you could actually go out there proactively and find the sites that aren't in compliance and reach out to them. One of the tools we have outside of this is Lead Power Machine, where you can get the email address of the business, the phone, the physical address, all that right there, and you could just basically target a certain region or certain business type to start with. Reach out to all the ones you want right there. Basically say, how again, according to you, it doesn't look like they're necessarily in compliance there. And you can call those guys. You can send even postcards. You can email them in some cases. You can be ambitious that way as well. Especially if you say that, hey, it's great that you have the privacy policy here, but you see that it's not GDPR compliant. If they want to see what they do to basically fix that, here's a video or like an article you have on all that stuff right there. And then again, have that nudge into the done for you package, where you clearly lay out what it is, what the issue is, how they can be compliant, and how you can help make that as easy and as done for them as possible. So before we go on to the next one, Sean, do you have anything else you want to say on this one before we jump over to the next?
Yeah, just real quick, you're mentioning using the lead tools to find leads. This is the type of product where, quite obviously, or type of situation with this new set of regulations from the European Union, that a lot of people are going to be starting to look for this, especially when there's a lot of news things coming up in the next couple of months that, hey, not only do you have to comply, but they'll be talking about, the new rights that EU citizens have because of this. And people will be searching, like, what is GDPR? How do I have to do? If I have a website, what do I do? They'll be searching for this. They'll be they'll be asking questions like, what's the easiest way? Because the average person obviously does not want to go hire a lawyer and spend thousands of dollars to comply like the big companies have to. Okay? And if you are the person who's helping out answering questions in forums where these searches are going and people are going and those answers are going to be showing up in search engines, you're going to get a ton of business out of this and a lot of great leads, and you're going to really be branded quite simply as the expert for doing that. So great opportunity. Go ahead, Brian.
And for the next one, I thought I would basically cover a bunch of them at once. So there were several of you that were selling some kind of a web service. Some were selling SEO, some were selling social media, ranging from like social media management to Facebook ads to YouTube ads. I think there may have been like a writing service or like a blogger service in there. You know, basically a whole bunch of different web services and such. And how you market those are very comparable. So rather than just pick one of those sites, I thought I'd kind of do like a general overview of what I would do in that case. So first of all, obviously, you know, make sure you have a nice site. Make sure you have an easy offer. Make sure any pitch you have basically says, what is the problem? You know, how can it be fixed, or what do you have to do, and what your offer is along with the benefits, and some kind of call to action where they have a special deal or something if they act fast. So that's the main thing with like the kind of offer that you should have. And of course, you want to always try to think of like the back end and like upsells and stuff that you can have. So like if you sell, let's say like a social media management service where like you manage like a Facebook page or anything like that, a natural upsell might even be like Facebook ad management or something along those lines right there. Or even if you sell like an SEO package, a natural upsell might be like a blog management service where maybe you write like a new blog post each week that you can optimize and all that right there. So kind of put their blog on autopilot instead of just having help with SEO. So try to think of what additional offers you can do to basically extend that. But as far as the marketing side of that goes itself, there's a bunch of things that you can do. Similar to some of the lead tools that we showed off here, you definitely can look for people asking questions, like using some of the lead tools. You can find guys asking like questions on how to optimize a site or how to rank better. And keep in mind, like you want to do several different kinds of searches, not just like SEO, because a lot of people might say, how can I rank better on Google? Or how can I get my site at the top of the search engine? So not all of them are saying, how can I do better SEO? So try to use the language of the everyday people, and that applies to like any niche that you're in right there. And you know, if someone's asking like, hey, you know, I can't get my site to rank on page 1, does anyone have any idea why? You can simply take like a couple minutes and say, hey, it looks like, you know, you said that you were trying to rank for this term right here. Did you know that you don't even have that in your title tag? And that's one of the biggest things that Google and others look at in terms of ranking, especially for terms that aren't, you know, insanely competitive, is, you know, are you mentioning that, you know, in your title or on your site and stuff like that? And oftentimes people don't do that. And a simple tip like that, you know, it might be super easy for you, but for a lot of these guys, they'll view you as like a genius. Oh, wow, I never even thought I had to put it, you know, in my title. And a simple change like that can basically boost them instantly towards the top of page 1, especially for like less competitive terms or local terms and stuff like that. Super easy. You can use the website analysis tool under the SEO tools right here. Is use the analysis one right here to kind of help basically analyze sites for them and stuff like that. Or even, you know, you don't even have to waste a ton of time, like even just basically giving like a few tips like, hey, you know, these are the top 2 things that you should do. 1, make sure that the keyword you target, you know, is somewhere in the title, you know, and on the site. And 2, make sure it's not a terribly competitive term that everyone else is trying to target too. Just easy things like that can go a long ways. And then kind of maybe nudge them back towards your site where you say, hey, if you want even more tips or you know, more advanced tips and stuff, feel free to check out my blog post here or my video here or my webinar replay here or whatever you want right there. And what's cool with that is you don't just do that for one lead at a time, because if someone asks a question like that, one person might be asking that, but there could be hundreds to thousands of people over time that see the question and see the answers that you gave. So over time, it can drive a lot of traffic. Won't necessarily drive a lot of traffic the very next day. In some cases it can, if you find the right spot, but over time it can start to really add up there. The other thing that you can do on the social media side is whether you're just basically talking about it on like a Facebook post, or whether you're doing a Facebook ad or basically anything like that, instead of basically doing what most guys do, and that's they try to sell the service up front, like say, hey, you know, check out my new social media management service or my new SEO service that you can get for half off now. And, you know, they sell it like that. And the problem is, like, when you immediately sell right out the bat up front, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, that can kind of get guys to steer away from you, because they're like, oh man, this guy's just selling, it's just another service, it's probably crap, I don't want to pay any attention, and they just kind of leave. Where instead, you could do like a Facebook post or Facebook ad that says, hey, here's how Susie Q's realtor business went from getting basically almost no leads to, you know, dozens of leads a week with these 3 easy things that she implemented in less than 15 minutes. That's the kind of thing that if you're a realtor, you know, you're going to pay attention there, rather than, you know, hey, buy my realtor SEO service for X amount, you know, right now. You're going to pay attention because in your mind, you're instantly like, what did Susie Q do to go from 0 leads to a couple dozen leads a week? What did she do in 15 minutes? What are those 3 things mentioned? And people click on that, they read up on it, and they're like, oh wow, that makes sense. She maybe changed some stuff on her site this way, she did this other thing here, she did this here, and she did this other thing, and hey, that's how she got leads. But then naturally, they're all like, what? They're like, oh, that involves some work. Man, you know, I don't like work. That kind of sucks. But oh, hey, it looks like Susie Q used this service right here that helped do that stuff for her. I want to check that out now, because that makes sense that Susie Q got more leads and stuff each week by basically doing those few things. That makes sense now. So now you kind of open the door a bit and get your foot in the door, where, you know, they are much more likely to pay attention to what your offer is now versus if you just try to sell them from up front. So any kind of like a case study that you have or anything like that can really be a great way to sell any kind of service, especially if you're going for like high price point stuff in, you know, the hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month. You know, it's oftentimes best to get guys excited about the case study and all that first, and then just send them to like basically like a webinar replay almost, where they see you again laying out what the issue is, how to fix it, what the solution is that you have, and what the benefits are, and then some kind of a special deal or call to action right there. And again, I don't care what kind of service you have, even if it's not like a web service, basically going about it in that way can make a major difference, and you know, really help there. So and again, you can use, again, the lead tools. You can also use like the guest blogger tool to find again, places where, again, you can be a guest blogger on how to rank or how to, you know, do social media or anything like that. You can even find guys, you know, on the social media tools and stuff that are basically actively talking about it or looking to a rank, or even outside of Webfire. Again, we have the lead power machine tool, where you can find leads of basically businesses of any kind and even see which ones aren't ranking, or which ones don't have a Facebook fan page, or which ones don't do this or that, and you can reach out to those guys that way as well right there. So with that, Sean, do you have anything else to add? Then we'll move on to the next one.
No, that's great.
All right, so the next one, I thought it was kind of cool because it was like something I never heard about, but thought it was some cool uses of it. But I thought there's a few things that they could do to market it and fix up the site too. So they basically sell, it's kind of like from my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, but from what they said, it's like a satin paper that is washable and doesn't really like rip easily. So basically the idea is you could print stuff on it and wash it off and reuse it. Or if you had to make like a banner or like a poster, you could print like a big poster on this big sheet of paper and reuse that, you know, afterwards if you had to wash that off and do some other stuff with that. So it's basically a much more kind of sturdy poster versus like just a normal piece of paper where obviously that can rip. If it gets wet, you basically tear up the paper, and that's no good right there. Now, a few things here is, one, it doesn't really it has a product name right here, but I would like you to say what the product term is that people would search for. So if it's like a super popular product and everyone out there is searching for basically the Digilux satin, sure, you could get away with that, maybe. But if you're trying to target people that are trying to buy satin paper or basically anything like that, you don't even have the main keyword in the title here. So if the main keyword is satin paper or whatever it might be, and again, you could use the keywords tool inside of Webfire to kind of help you see maybe what are the best keywords to go after. You want to absolutely use that somewhere in the title. And this is true for any kind of e-commerce product. For every product that you sell on your site, you'll want to make sure that the product each has a separate page on your site. And most e-commerce platforms do just that, but you want to make sure oftentimes that what appears as the title or the title tag of it are the keywords and the product name and stuff that you're trying to rank for. So make absolutely sure that you spend some time with that. And then I would also have maybe a little blurb right here on just what that is. And I know you mentioned a little bit down here in terms of the the bullet points, but I would also mention hey, what the benefits are and why yours is basically better, and what uses and stuff they can do for that right there. And I would also maybe have a price too. So it's kind of you make it kind of hard to know what the price is here. Maybe it just might be you have to pick an option first. No, so yeah, you still don't have the price. So there's the prices up there. All right. So you have that right there. And the other thing too, I don't know if this is basically a picture that you left out or if it's one that you picked, but it's kind of I don't know what that is. So it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't look like the product. Makes me think that, oh, if they don't even have the picture of the product here, and you see here, it's it doesn't really show the paper right off the bat right here. It looks like you have it shown when I pick a certain kind here. But I would probably do basically a better job of showing the image right off the bat, and then maybe talk about what the difference is in this right here. Now, if you're appealing to a business that knows exactly what they want, you don't necessarily have to worry about that stuff as much. But if you're trying to find new business, here's a few things that you could do. First, you could try to target a bunch of SEO terms, right? A handful of articles or videos where you basically target stuff what are the advantages of satin paper, or what is satin paper versus I had a search right here. If you just search for satin paper right here, you can see what some of the competition's doing. Here's one right here. When should you use satin paper or this paper right here? What is the difference between matte and semi-gloss versus satin, all that? So you can have a bunch of articles say, hey, what is the difference between satin paper and semi-gloss and blah blah, and just have a whole list of things like that. So people are searching and don't really know the difference. A lot of businesses might not know which one's better, and you can clearly lay that all out and make it super easy, either in a blog post where you basically target those terms in the title, or a video even, which you'd have a super easy chance of ranking for, saying, hey, what is the difference between these 3 or 4 kinds of paper, and even show a quick demo of it. Now, you don't want it to be a half-hour long or anything like that, because people get scared of that. Ideally, you want to be a 2-minute thing, or really short, where you say, hey, what is the difference? This is the difference. This is what these look like. And if you say one rips really easily, you rip one and say, hey, look, this kind rips really easily like so. You see this kind, I'm trying to bend it and it just won't rip. Or this is a kind right here, look, I just wrote in marker. I marked it all up. I can't wash it or it ruins it, but on this one, I can mark it up, and look, it washes right off right there. So that gets people kind of excited, oh, that's perfect. That's the kind of stuff that I need for basically a poster board or anything like that. And then at the end saying, hey, regardless of which ones you want, we sell all those right here that you can get the best deal out there, or the best quality or whatever right there, and sell that. I would also look to see what you could do on places like Amazon and stuff. Now, it's great that you have your own site. I'd also look into possibly listing some of the stuff you have on Amazon and stuff, because that has obviously a lot of people looking to buy all sorts of stuff there. If you also know kind of the businesses that tend to want your stuff, like I used to do some work with a client that like years and years and years and years and years ago, a client of mine was in basically the ink business, and they kind of knew, I mean, even though they'd sell to anyone, they kind of knew who their best clients were, like hospitals, hotels, especially in Vegas. So that they kind of had a list of, hey, even though we'd sell ink to anyone and everyone, these are like the few types of places right here that typically are our best clients. So if you had a list like that, again, you could reach out to businesses out there and just see what kind of paper they use now, and if you could maybe offer a better deal or a better price for them. Because especially when you reach out like that, like with the example of the ink place, it wasn't just, hey, do you want to buy my ink? It was, hey, do you know how much you currently pay for ink each month, and how much do you order? If we were able to get a better quality at the same or a cheaper price, would you be interested in getting a sample? Or again, they offer to send out basically a free sample. Most places would say, well, sure. Now, if I'm spending, $10,000 a month on, basically ink, if you can offer a better quality for a bit less, absolutely, I'd be interested in checking out a sample there. Because if they could save even $1,000 or $2 a month, that'd be a good deal right there. So that's one thing that you could do right there, especially on a larger scale. If you know of larger places out there that buy a ton of this at once, so you could proactively reach out to them that way. You can also use like some of the lead tools and stuff inside of Webfire to find guys asking all sorts of questions on Satin Paper and stuff like that. Obviously, it's probably not as large of a market as some others in terms of people asking questions, but you probably will find some. Or maybe ones won't use the term Satin Paper, but they'll say, hey, what's a good paper to print on that is washable? Or what's a good paper to print on for this or that? And you would probably know what that stuff would be right there. But that's what I would do, right off the bat right there, as well as, again, getting the videos and the articles out there where you're clearly explaining what the different kinds of papers are, especially, again, the shorter the better, or the ones where you have like basically the bullet points, because again, people want to find a simple answer very, very quickly. They don't want to read like a 5-page essay or a half-hour video on what the differences are. They just want to know within like basically a minute or so what the differences are, or like 2 or 3 tops on like a video or so. And that, I think, can get you a lot of search engine traffic, and the other thing can help you, again, get those leads and reach out to those guys right there. But definitely fix up the site a little bit too. Sean, anything to add before we go to the next one?
Yeah, he made a comment, thanks a lot for the info, and that he said, I didn't realize there were people who wouldn't understand. And I want to respond to that really quickly, because when you go to sell stuff as the project creator and the person who's got like, all the info, and the person who developed it, right? You're like, man, everybody knows like, the square root of pi, right? It's obvious. Like, okay, so for the rest of us normal humans, we don't know that. Okay. And we don't know why your stuff is better. We don't know why we want your stuff. If I was looking to print a banner, I don't know why I'd want to reuse one. I don't know how to print it myself. But so you've got to make things painfully obvious, explain stuff in normal human speak. Hey, like when I practiced law, one of the things I learned was that people would come to me with legal problems, but I couldn't give them legal answers because they didn't understand what I was saying, because they hadn't invested 3 years in law school. Okay, so think about that when you're trying to explain it. And if you can't, get your message across in simple terms so people can see how this is their solution they didn't even know they need, then you're going to have issues. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, and one big thing with that to really hit home, like oftentimes people assume that if they know something, as Sean said, that everyone does, and they think like a lot of stuff is common sense. So I don't mean to rip on the guy or anything, because he's actually a guy I know. He was a client of ours. We actually had a business site. It was essentially a tennis shop that we helped rank. It had like 0 rankings, and I think we got up to like, it was like 36 #1 rankings at the very top of page 1. So not just page 1, but #1 on page 1. And basically oftentimes he was 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time on page 1. So we got him ranked really, really, really well. And the interesting thing is, here's a guy who owns a business. He did some research online, like he was saying what he had to do. You know, like, so smart guy. He wasn't an, you know, he wasn't a moron or anything like that. But the first time he talked to me, he complained about how, you know, he wasn't ranked at all, and he saw that, you know, there's a bunch of big online sites that were ranking even for local terms, even though they weren't local, and he was nowhere to be seen, and blah blah. And he actually told me that he thought the only way to get organically ranked is to pay Google. Okay, he thought that you couldn't do anything to just rank a site unless you pay them. He thought the reason why a bunch of sites that weren't, you know, like if someone did a search in his local area for any kind of tennis gear, he's like, well, naturally I should be the #1 site because, you know, I'm the shop that's right here. And he's like, the only reason why these other guys are here are because they're paying Google to be ranked above me. And he legitimately thought that. And I said, Bill, you can't pay Google to organically rank you. You can pay for AdWords ads. And he's like, oh, you know, I know there's ads, but, you know, it looks like you have to pay them to be organically ranked. I'm like, no, you don't have to pay them at all. So he never even knew that you could organically, magically do stuff in the background to get a site ranked. He thought the only way was, oh, you pay off Google. That's how this all works. And to guys like most, like I'm guessing out of all you on this call, 99% of you probably knew that. And the, you know, 1% that didn't is probably like, oh, really? You can organically rank? But, you know, again, 99% of you probably know this and think, man, there's no reason why I'd have to logically explain any of that, because every guy knows that. You'd have to be a moron not to. But when you think about it, how, you know, you guys know a lot more about this stuff. You've been on these calls, you know, you've done some research on your own, you've used a handful of tools and stuff, you know way more than the average business guy out there. So that's why when you market to the average business guy out there, you really need to dumb the stuff down a ton. And one of the lessons that I learned a long time back, especially in like presentations and stuff, like one of the first times I ever spoke on stage, I had like a really awesome presentation. I did like some super advanced stuff on the affiliate marketing side of things, and I laid it all out. Like I gave tons and tons and tons of content. I laid it all out, and I thought, wow, people will love this. And I could see, like, you know, there were a handful of people that really got it, but a lot of them just had like a blank stare, like, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't see the value in any of it. And then there'd be like another speaker that would basically say, you can be an affiliate and sell other stuff online and make money. And everyone would be like, wow, great stuff. That's so smart. What a genius. And I was like, everyone knows that. Like, what's smart about that? And then I realized, man, it's because, you know, the more you dumb down a presentation, the more likely you are to not be like too basically over another guy's head. And the easier the message you have, the more you explain the stuff, the more likely you are to get guys understanding you, and the more likely you are to make a sale too. So I'm not saying you have to dumb down everything where, like, you know, you can't do anything ever even mediocre or, you know, advanced or anything like that. I'm just saying, don't forget, you know, the guys out there that probably aren't nearly as advanced as you. So definitely in the paper case, you know, I'm guessing the vast majority of people don't know the difference between, you know, satin and semi-gloss and all that other crap. In fact, I'm sure if we asked everyone on this call here, what is the difference? Maybe like, I'm guessing maybe 5 guys would probably somewhat know, if that. Whereas everyone else And I might be probably being overconfident that 5 of you guys would probably know, all this stuff on paper. But the vast majority of you would say, I don't really know. I know that, basically the glossy stuff is shiny. Satin, they might think, oh, that's kind of like silky stuff, right? What does that have to do with paper? Like, again, people won't know. And even if you're in the business field, yeah, if you live and breathe paper all day long, you'll say, well, duh, everyone should know that. But most people, even ones that need to buy paper and do stuff, won't know what that stuff is. So definitely take some time to help explain all that stuff right there. All right, so moving on to the next one. Thought this was kind of a cool one. It's like an e-commerce site, but they sell kind of like a shoe insole. Basically, it's like a shoe insert, a bit like Dr. Scholl's. I'm pretty sure that's a well-known brand worldwide. It might just be in the U.S., but basically, Dr. Scholl's is like an insert that goes inside shoes, and it makes it much more comfy and helps like a bunch of problems with your feet. And they kind of have basically a product a bit like that, but there's some advantages to theirs. And they wanted some advice on what to do. So I thought, hey, that's a pretty unique product, looks pretty cool. And you see they have, it's a nice looking site, and it says, hey, it's engineered to protect and cushion. Gives a few things. Hey, here's some things where it says it offloads basically the painful heel. But I don't think you do the best job of explaining clearly what the benefits are. So clearly I know if I have an insert, it's probably some kind of a pad. It probably feels a little nicer. That's what people would get if they saw this site. But if they saw basically the picture right here, they say, hey, it looks like there's a lot of pressure up here on the feet. Well, why is this only at the back of the feet then? Is this just for heels? So am I buying a product that only helps with half of the problem? You're not really explaining it. And what you need to do instead is have like a list of benefits. Like, hey, here's how these insoles can help you. They can help with this, and that. Whereas, rather than just say, hey, it helps basically protect and can be a cushion, you have to say what the benefits are and how it can help, and maybe also appeal to like different kinds of people. Like, for instance, I play a lot of tennis, and luckily I don't have any foot issues myself, but I know there's a handful of guys in my league that sometimes complain about foot issues. And I know I wear like oftentimes like basically like a thicker sock, like it's a special tennis sock, which helps. But if you think a product like yours might help, definitely explain how it can help, both with like basically everyday stuff, how it can help for runners or walkers or sports players or joggers or anything like that, and explain what the benefits are for each one and what it can help with. Whether it's like a sports type thing, whether it's they just have aches and sores in their feet, whether they have like a medical condition, like let's say a person has like I don't know, I've known like a couple people that have had like things like blisters, or they've also had like some kind of weird like a foot wart that stays there for like a few months and stuff. Lots of weird things that I've heard about where they have pain in their feet. And if you have a list of all the issues that someone can have with their feet, see if your product right here would help with that, and then list off maybe the main ones that you can help with right here, and then have videos and articles about how this insole can help with this problem right here. And then you can try to rank for terms like that. Like if there's I don't know a term offhand that's basically a tech one, but let's say you might help prevent blisters, okay? Say how to prevent blisters on your feet. And if you rank for like some term like that, or make like a video or like an article on that, and you explain why you get basically the blisters there, and some ways to prevent that, and how a big one is having a proper insole. Or even better is, rather than find guys looking to how to prevent them, find guys that have them and want to find a solution like right then. Like if you think yours can help, if someone has a blister, if it can help ease that pain, maybe try to target videos and articles and stuff on that too, where these don't have to be long. I mean, even like a video that's like a minute or two long, basically saying like what the issue is, what can help, and how this product can basically help with that. That can help a long ways, because especially the price point that you have, it's an expensive price point for basically an insole or like an insert, especially when like you can get a shoe for that same price a lot of the time. So you have to do a real good job of selling what the benefit is. And if someone has like lots of blisters or lots of foot issues, and I don't know all the issues out there, you probably know a lot more than me on that. If not, you could easily do like a Google search and find like probably dozens and dozens and dozens. If you list out all those right there, again, over time, you can just slowly whip out like blog posts and videos and stuff and basically target all those right there. Even look to be like maybe a guest blogger for some, like if there's like a sports site, you could do a guest blog post on how to protect your feet in sports, or how to prevent getting injuries on your foot with this. Then also maybe address that especially target sports and stuff. Does the insole change their feel? Like, will it cause like an injury if they use that in basketball or tennis or running, or will it help, and why? Just list out all that right there and really target that well. And also, again, but a major thing right here is like you got to list off all the benefits, because right now you're basically saying, hey, I have a cool foot insert. It helps give you a cushion. Here's 3 options. Go buy. And also, like, it doesn't even say what the sizes are here either. It says, hey, are you a medium, small, or large? And at least for me, I'd say, hey, I'm like a size 12 or 12 and a half. Would I be a large? I think so. Am I about to drop $55 to see? Probably not. But if I knew that, hey, this is good for size 10 to 14, it'd be like, oh, that's me, that fits. I'll get that right there. And also, I'd also probably have some testimonials and stuff like that, and have like a variety of them, like have maybe a basketball player that like loves them, or have like a runner or like a jogger that loves them, or have like maybe like a older person that had like lots of foot issues but doesn't do sports and loves them. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that to really stand out. So that's what I would do right off the bat, and I think that would make a major difference. And then on top of that too, it's probably assumed, but I would also say that this is for a pair. Now, because it's probably a lot of people would assume that, but not all will. Some might assume, hey, this cost just for a single one, and you have to buy 2. So if it is for a pair, which I assume, definitely say that right there. And also, if you want to do like a comparison chart between you and some competitors, like basically Dr. Scholl's and stuff, you could try to do a comparison. If you think yours is better, list off why, or what exactly the benefits are. And you can even start to try to rank for other brand names and stuff out there if you do these comparisons and such. And you can also use like the lead tools and stuff inside of Webfire to find guys asking questions or problems on their feet, like how to prevent blisters or fix their foot pain, or even people basically asking questions on like Dr. Scholl's stuff, like, hey, will this Dr. Scholl's then help me? And you can say, hey, it certainly could help. There's some other products out there that specialize in this stuff even more, like this right here, which I recommend you check out. So you can kind of siphon traffic off of the competition as well. The other thing that you can do, let me pull up the example of it right here. I have it right here. So you can also use the backlink tool right here, which we recently actually did an update on, which was kind of cool. So basically you type in a keyword. In this case, I did shoe inserts. You could do shoe insoles, or whatever kind of common terms you think there are. And if you don't know, you can use the keyword tool right here. Just go to SEO and keywords, and then down to keyword tool right here. And it will tell you like what the most searched for terms are relevant to you right there. And you can optionally type in a website. It can be your site, a competitor site. In this case, it's a competitor site. Pick the location and the search engine I want right there. And what this does is it first basically shows where the competition, like the site that you entered, it shows where their top 20 backlinks are from right there. So you can get an idea of where maybe they're advertising on, or getting news posts on. So you see, hey, they're on health.com, they're on womenshealthmag.com, so they're on a bunch of sites like that, Gizmodo, and you can reach out to these sites right here. Just click basically the contact, we'll pull up the contact info, and then you can reach out and email them even through the software right here. Just click down right here after you check those off, and you can reach out basically asking, hey, if they'd ever be interested in having you as like a guest blogger, or if they'd be interested in running an article of yours, or anything like that. And if you do all the work for them, you increase your chances of getting that done. Or if not, you could basically end it and ask what their advertising rates are, and such as well. You can also see what the competition is, like right here for that keyword. This is the competition. So you see Amazon's good right here. Dr. Scholl's is up there. You see a handful of others right there. And at any point in time, you can see where they get their traffic from, like where their backlinks are coming from as well. And you can also reach out to these guys as well, or you can also reach out to where they are getting their traffic from. And so you start to get an idea of where the traffic is right now. So if you say, hey, there's a lot on Amazon, and hey, there's even some on Walmart, you could reach out to those places and have a listing on there, or add basically a product to Amazon and Walmart, which has an online thing similar to Amazon, to get additional sales and traffic. And even if you want to reach out, in a case like yours, if you're the product owner and you have a really awesome product, I also would take the time to possibly reach out to physical stores that might be able to sell your stuff. And this is a good way to kind of see who's selling that stuff now, and it'd be worth your time to try to reach out there, because one decent deal with a decent store can double or triple or quadruple your sales almost overnight. And so definitely it's worth your time to do a little research, see who you want to talk to there, try to reach out to those guys right there to try to make some kind of deal, but really know, why is your product better? It could be it's a better quality, could be that it's also a cheaper price, could be that maybe they have a larger profit in it for them. Anything like that would be worthwhile to look into it, and basically do. And I know that's a lot of work, like right off the bat initially, but even if you spend like a couple hours a week on one of those tasks each week, I think that will have astronomical effects down the line for you right there. But again, great job on getting the site up, on having a product and all that work. Right. But again, I think if you fix up the site and start to do some of the more active things, even using like the lead tools to find guys asking questions on it, all that stuff can help a lot. Or even on here, I use the tweet lead finder under social, and I just looked for keywords like shoe insert and feet hurt. I think I had only 2 keywords. You certainly would want to do more, but I mean, here's all these guys that are complaining about how their feet hurt, and this is all just today. So there's probably literally, and you can see this is 100 leads right here. You can click next 100 and get even more. There's probably hundreds of thousands of leads a day of people complaining about their feet hurting that you can tap into right here and reach out to maybe some tips, or even build a list automatically on basically Twitter and such. You can follow these guys, and a lot of them will automatically follow you back, where over time you can build basically a list of people whose feet hurt, okay? And you can do this again with any kind of topic you want, but again, there's a lot of possibilities that you can do here, just with that. So with that, Sean, is there anything else you want to add before we give some cash away?
Just one thing. This is a product that people will buy multiples of, and there will be repeat buyers. So someone like Brian, who plays tennis a lot, the socks, I mean, obviously over time they're going to wear, right? So you're gonna be able to sell more of these things if you follow up with people, and make sure you do that, because it's not just a one-time thing. It's a lifetime customer that you want to acquire.
Yep, and on that note too, there's probably other kinds of products that might help with yours. Like, for instance, if the inserts help, maybe the thicker socks help too. So it's another kind of product that you could sell and have as like an upsell. Like, say, hey, it's great that you bought this. Did you know that sometimes the type of socks that people wear can also be a culprit? Here's a great way to have extra protection on your feet, even without a shoe. And you can sell those as well, and possibly even get a lot more money out of every buyer that you have, and have something extra to sell those guys as well. And for thick socks and stuff, I mean, you can go to sites like AliExpress and stuff and see what places out there sell that stuff on the cheap, and you can probably get that stuff at a fraction of the price that a store would have. So it gives you a pretty good margin right there, even if you don't carry any inventory yourself, because obviously you could drop ship that from basically anywhere you want. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, the socks that I use that are really nice, I like them a lot. They're quite thick. They're like, if you buy 3 pairs at a time, they're like $14 a pair. So not for all 3, just for a pair, it's 14. If you buy just 1 pair, it's like $15 or so. So they're pretty expensive compared to, like, I'm used to buying socks that are like for $5, I get like a pack of 6. But in tennis, I found those get like shredded really fast, and they weren't all that comfy and whatnot. But for $15 a pair, it's like, wow, I really like them. All the people I know that have used them have liked them, and it's the kind of thing that you could probably drop ship, I'm guessing, for at least a fourth of the actual cost that person could get at it at a store. So you have a pretty good margin right there. But the other thing too, anytime you sell like a high price point thing, like a shoe insert that's might be more expensive than a shoe, or like a $15 pair of socks, you have to have the social proof to back that up. So you have to have like the testimonials, or case studies, or some kind of proof to really say why this is better, why the $15 sock sells, or not why it sells, why you should buy it, and why it works so well. Same thing with, like, I saw there was basically a t-shirt place that was selling t-shirts for $80 a pair. Now, I can buy a 3-pack for probably like $7 or so. So everyone naturally in that case would be, okay, why would I spend like 10 times more for a third of the amount of t-shirts? Naturally, they want to know, why is it so good? And to answer that is the testimonials about that, and why it's good, why it's great, so on and so forth. So keep that in mind right there. And with that, I'm going to go back to presentations in a second here. All right, and we'll give some cash away. And also, in the meantime too, guys, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask those now. And I know Sean and Sharon have been answering a lot of you, but if there's anything left, feel free to let us know, and we'll try to answer you really quick. And for the rest of you, make sure that if you haven't joined yet, that you join the free Facebook group, because we're about to give some cash away. If you go to getwebfire.com/FB group, again, it's right there, just getwebfire.com/FB group. You'll see a post at the top from Sharon, probably from about like an hour ago, basically asking what you thought of today's call. If you leave a comment within that post, so try to make sure it's within that post right there, because it's far easier to count, and make sure that you only leave one comment there. So otherwise that's kind of cheating if you leave a few. We'll pick a random winner in just a couple minutes right here. So if you leave any kind of comment about what you thought of the call, or any topics you'd like to see on a future call, or anything like that, let us know. And next week we'll have some new stuff for you. So we'll have a new topic. And but since you guys seem to love this one so much, this is why we did the last 3 weeks on this. Maybe we'll revisit that at some point in the future as well. But again, if you leave a comment on the Facebook group right there at getwebfire.com/FB group, we'll pick a random winner that will actually draw in front of you live in a couple minutes. And again, if you're not, a member there, just click join. Sharing will approve you with a minute or two for free anyway. And you can do so and possibly win some cash. So with that, I'm gonna pause the screen as I go to the Facebook group. And Sean, in the meantime, if there's any questions that you've seen, you can feel free to shout those off.
Well, I'm just curious how many people just got to the webinar and can't figure out why we are where we are in the webinar, because daylight savings time in the U.S. occurred this week, and we're ahead of many other countries in terms of daylight saving changes anyway. And so, we're at the same time in Eastern U.S. time or in all U.S. time, but as compared to many people in the world that didn't hit daylight savings time yet, sorry that we're ahead of you. We did send you email out and warned you, but some of you did that. And Yaya said he reads his emails. Good, and responds because he's here. All right, so Francis had a question, which was, how many times is it fair to reach out and create the relation with somebody, either like in a forum or wherever, before suggesting that they check out a URL? And the answer to that, I hate to give you the lawyer answer of it varies, but it does. In a lot of cases, if somebody's asking a specific question and the URL you're pointing them to is, for example, a YouTube video or a blog post that contains helpful, valuable information, then it's fair to give it to them right off the bat. But now it would be different if it's, hey, so I'm looking for information about XYZ, and you're like, hey, go buy my stuff. Okay, that's really not necessarily helpful and valuable to them unless they're saying, I want to know how to go buy a moped, and you say, hey, here's a place to buy mopeds, right? But if somebody's saying, I can't figure out what moped to buy, I don't want it to be too big, and I want my teenage kid to be able to ride it or whatever, and you have an article or a video that's, here's how to figure out what moped you should buy for whatever to be appropriate, and you send them to something that answers their question, then you could give them that information right away, and that should be completely fine, okay? All right. And Alexandra asked this question, Brian, what can I do to find big competitors selling healthy food as well? But Alexandra, I'm not sure you're asking, how do we, how do you find competitors that you could go get to sell your products, that you could piggyback off of, that you could partner up with? I'm not sure why you want to find them.
Well, and with that too, my first thought is, if you don't know who your competitors are, you could do a Google search and find that probably within like a minute. You could also go to the backlink tool inside a Webfire and type in a main keyword and find lots and lots of them, and also see where their traffic comes from too within the tool there too. So yeah, and if you clarified exactly what it is you're looking to do, we could probably give a better answer. But that's what you could do in the meantime right there.
Okay, with that, we've now answered all the questions.
All right, let's give some cash away. So I'm gonna refresh the page really quick. And yeah, that's a good thing. So it does seem that there's a bit less viewed because of the daylight savings right there. So we tried to give you guys a warning right there, but yeah, all right. All right, so I'll give you guys maybe 10 seconds to leave another comment or so if you're in the middle of it. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'll count the ones outside because there's usually some. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. So 3 posted outside plus 33 inside, so 36. All right, Sean. So 1 to 36. Who do you think will be the winner?
33.
All right. I'll go to random.org right here, and we'll see what it says. 29. All right. When I said 36, yeah, 29. All right. So
Don't
36,
mess it up.
35, 34. So this would be 33, 32, 31, 30, 29. Let me just check to make sure we didn't accidentally add anyone else since then. Nope, good. So, all right, so Robert Price, if this is you or you look like this painting, congratulations, you are $100 richer, or you will be, as soon as you submit your PayPal info to Sharon. So just in the chat box, if you could just mention your PayPal email, Sharon will get that off to you right away, right now, as soon as she gets that info from you. So again, congratulations to Robert Price for, again, being this week's Wednesday Marketing Webinar winner. And again, we're glad that we were able to help you with a problem that you struggled with at the same time. So not only am I glad that we could help with that, but also glad that you're $100 richer at the same time. So congratulations to you on that. And for the rest of you, again, thanks for being on this call. And remember, each week it's always at Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And usually, with the emails from GoToWebinar, it will tell you what time that is for you too. So that shouldn't be an issue right there. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you can reach out to us at support@webfire.com, or inside the members area, there's a help desk right there as well. So once again, thanks for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week at Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So with that, guys, have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.